Hey, what's going on, guys? Season 27 brings a ton of variety and options for T16 key farming for Witch Doctor. And one build making a comeback is my all-time favorite T16 build, and that is the Firewalker Locust Swarm build. The premise of the build is simple. Locust Swarm is going to spread all over the map, and you need it to be killing trash mobs in 1 to 2 ticks. Once you have the damage to achieve that, this is one of the fastest T16 builds for Witch Doctor. In the past, we ran Legacy of Dreams or Legacy of Nightmares, along with Gargantuans for single target. This time around, we're going to run the Arakir set. The 6 set bonus reads, the damage of your creature skills is increased by 25,000%. Creature skills are Corpse Spiders, Plague of Toads, Fire Bats, Locust Swarm, Hex, and Piranhas. So we're getting a massive Locust Swarm damage increase here, and we're also going to run Fire Bats for single target. Season 27 brings 2 more massive damage increases to help this build out. The first being the Hyperion Crucible effect. This reads, Horrify becomes an aura that causes enemies to receive 100% more damage and deal 15% less damage in addition to its other effects. So I'm actually running the Face of Death Horrify rune as well to increase the radius of this. And then the second power spike that we're going to be getting is the revamped Guardian set. The important part here is the 2 set bonus. It reads, you gain an additional 100% of your base strength, dexterity, intelligence, and vitality attributes from equipped items. So the intelligence increase is the big deal here, and this is really what's going to allow you to run this build with low Paragon. Next up, let's take a look at the abilities. So first, summon Zombie Dog's lifelink. This is going to allow our zombie dogs to absorb 10% of the damage that is dealt to us, but the main reason for zombie dogs is to proc Fierce Loyalty, which gives us movement speed when we have a pet out. Next up, Spirit Walk Severance. This is going to give us invulnerability and a ton of movement speed. This is going to be our main way to zip around the map, and we're going to pair this with Engiom to effectively be able to spam it after we kill an elite or champion. Soul Harvest Soul to Waste. This is going to give you 3% increased intelligence per stack, stacking up to 5 times. But the main reason for this is the Soul to Waste rune also gives you 5% increased movement speed per stack. And this, again, will give us 5 stacks, so 25% movement speed. Locust Swarm Searing Locust. So we're going to be passively casting Locust Swarm with Wormwood in the cube, and the Wormwood will take on the rune that we have selected on our bar. So we're running Searing Locust. It is the highest damage Locust Swarm rune that we can get, and we're also already getting Pestilence by running the Vile Hive Mojo, which gives Locust Swarm a damage increase and the Pestilence rune. Next up, we have Horrify Face of Death. Now, Horrify is going to do a lot here. With the Crucible effect from the season, Horrify is going to be turned into an aura, so you have it up all the time. It's going to make enemies take more damage, and it's going to make enemies deal less damage. You also just get a ton of survivability from enemies being immobilized by this effect. It's going to proc your Bane of the Trapped legendary gem, and you're going to get a massive movement speed increase from the Rochelle's Ring of Larceny. Now for my testing, I liked the Face of Death rune to increase this radius, but you could of course just run the typical Stalker rune, which gives you 20% more movement speed. And that brings us to Fire Bats. This is going to be our single target. Now you could absolutely run Corpse Spiders instead for single target damage if you want. We just haven't ran Fire Bats in such a long time that I thought it was a little bit more fun to run this as the single target, and it performs really well. Your best bet is probably going to be Cloud of Bats. I definitely ran this quite a bit, but I will say my favorite is Dire Bats. Dire Bats is one of the coolest abilities in the entire game, and it's basically never really been used for hardly anything. But it does the trick, and it's a ranged Fire Bats, so you don't have to be right on top of the enemies to deal your damage. Next up, let's take a look at the passives. Graven Justice. Gain 1% of your maximum life and mana and reduce the cooldown of all of your skills by 1 second when an enemy dies within 20 yards. The range is extended by items that increase your gold pickup radius. So just like pretty much every Witch Doctor build that runs this, you're mainly using this for the cooldown reduction, and the range of this is going to be extended by your gold pickup radius. In solo T16, your Avarice band is going to be on your follower, and that's going to emanate to your character to increase the range of this dramatically. Gruesome Feast. When you're healed by a health globe, gain 10% of your maximum mana and 10% intelligence for 15 seconds. The intelligence bonus stacks up to 5 times. The goal is always to move fast enough in T16 rifts to where you have 5 stacks of this up the majority of the time. Pierce the Veil. All of your damage is increased by 20%, but your mana costs are increased by 30%. just a flat damage increase here with Pierce the Veil, and you really don't have too many mana issues with this build. If you see that you do have mana problems when you're casting Fire Bats, you can drop this for potentially Confidence Ritual. And then Fierce Loyalty for a consistent 15% movement speed, and then another 15% movement speed when our pets are out of combat. That brings us to the items. First up, we have the Engiom for the cooldown reduction to constantly Spirit Walk around the map. The Vile Hive Mojo for more Locust Swarm damage, and it will also give us the Pestilence Rune so that it jumps an additional time. 5 pieces of Arakir, the boots, pants, gloves, chest, and the shoulders. The Ring of Emptiness for a damage increase to anything that's affected by Locust Swarm. The Rochelle's Ring of Larceny for that movement speed increase when an enemy is horrified. The Bakuli Jungle Wraps for a damage increase to our Fire Bats. The Squirt's Necklace for another just generic damage increase. And then 2 pieces of the Guardian set, the Bracers and the Helmet. For legendary gems, we have the Zay's Stone of Vengeance, the Boon of the Hoarder for more gold and more movement speed, and then the Bane of the Trapped for more damage against enemies that are impaired by effects. In the cube, we have the Wormwood to passively cast Locust Swarm for us, the Quetzalcoatl Voodoo Mask, and then the Ring of Royal Grandeur to get the 6-piece bonus of Arakir, and it will also give us the 3-piece bonus of Guardians. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to put a D3 Planner link in the description of this video, and that'll have all of the correct stats on gear and all that good stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.